This story is narrated by a woman. We are. She's the housewife. She is referred to in the story as Moto's wife. She is also the narrator of the story. Her daughter is Daba, and her husband is Moto. So she's looking back at her past 3 years of her life, remembering how difficult it has been. If she remembers that her daughter, who is busy completing her back, used to take her friends or some of her friends home to study with. Uh, Mostly it was at Pinaccio. Pinaccio, she was frail, made noticeably uncomfortably with uh, their style of living. In this family, or Moto's family, they are rich. They have money because Moto is involved in trade unions. He is involved in politics. In fact, Moto is rich. So they have money, they live better. But with Pinacho, she was different to Daba because Daba had everything because she was coming from a family that really can provide for her. Unlike Pinacho, her family was uh, poor. They were living in poverty. Um, then Daba will take this girl and study at Moto's house. The first part of the story, or the first setting of the story, is at Moto's house. The writer says that they will study until it was late and Moto was available. She will notice that Moto was interested to the pair. By the pair, we are referring to Daba and Pinaccio. But then she wouldn't worry because we assume that she trusted Moto's enough. We are also told that Pinocchio is frail, uh, as you expect from someone who comes from a poor family, but then she was beautiful. And then Modo will insist that he takes Pinocchio home because he will say it was getting late. Then the narrator wouldn't have a problem because she understood. She may have felt that her husband was a caring man, but then things were happening because, in fact, I can say under her watch because Moto was interested to Pinacho because he was having feelings for the young girl who is at her daughter's age because Daba and Pinacho were of the same age, busy completing their back together. They were classmates. Then, when Moto's wife was at home on some day, there came Tamsir, the Imam, and Mautopa. Tamsir was Moto's older brother. The Imam is a Muslim spiritual leader because in this family they are Muslims. And then Mautopa was Moto's best friend. So they came to inform Moto's wife, the narrator, that Moto was at the Grand Dakar. was a wedding there between Modo and Pinocchio, the very same girl that Daba used to bring home to study with. So then it goes back to the story where uh, Pinocchio was undergoing a massive change in terms of her dress sense. She would tell, then Tama would be curious and ask her friend Pinocchio, who is buying you all these clothes, all these expensive overpriced dresses? And then Pinocchio will say, oh, I have a sugar daddy, a blesser with a pot belly. She's the one who buys me all these dresses. He pays, sorry, he pays for them because it was a he. And then Pinocchio uh, was undergoing metamorphosis at the time, sudden change in terms of dress sense. She was now wearing expensive dresses, and then on some days, or one day, Pinocchio was heartbroken because things got serious. The sugar daddy who was busy buying her all these dresses wanted to marry her, and she was not ready to marry the sugar daddy. Uh, then Dama went to her mother, then to say, Pinocchio is worried, mom. She's heartbroken. The sugar daddy wants to marry her. Then her mother told or advised Pinocchio. She said, Daba, tell Pinocchio not to marry the sugar daddy because none of that, none of the promises uh, that sugar daddy can make that should take her youth away. She then advised Pinocchio not to give in to the marriage with the sugar daddy. Tell her to refuse because none of the promises that he can make should take away the youth. But then Pinocchio gave in. She came back to say, I am marrying the sugar daddy, telling Udaba that she was marrying the sugar daddy. Why? Because her mother pressurized her to marry the sugar daddy because the sugar daddy promised Pinocchio's parents the trip to the Mecca, lavish lifestyle, uh, allowance, money allowance, monthly allowance every month. Now they won't have money because they are the poor family, unlike the Moto's family. Boy, they are coming from a poor family, and her mother was a beautiful woman who never used her beauty to attract wealth on her. So she regretted that so much, and she didn't want Pinocchio to suffer the same fate. That is why she prioritized uh, Pinocchio to give in to the marriage because she wanted to attract money, to use her beauty to attract money, something that she failed to do while she was young. And also, the trip to Mecca was elusive and it was something they could not afford, or an opportunity they could not afford to take. So she wanted, she pressurized her daughter to give in, and Pilato was heartbroken because she was not really interested into marriage. She was happy to take money home. She was happy with what what Moto was doing for her, but she was not happy. So she was not ready. to get married to the sugar daddy. And uh, then they revealed to the narrator that it was Moto who was getting married to Pinacho. And then the narrator was shocked because she remembers how she used to advise Pinacho not to give in to the marriage, blah blah blah. She remembers that it was Moto they were talking about. And Daba remember how Pinacho used to tell her, lady with a pot belly, who can remember those words that Pinacho used to label and the person who was paying her dresses, and then she'll remember that in fact she was referring to her father using all those names. She was very heartbroken, sad, feeling betrayed to do with her best friend anymore because she felt that her best friend was a hypocrite. She felt like anybody who has been betrayed by her best friend. She now realizes that a girl of her age now is or has married her father. Her best friend has married her. She advised her mother to divorce with her father because she felt that she did not respect her. Pinato's mother also pressurized Pinato to give in to this marriage because she wanted to have a status in the society because they were coming from a poor family, so they wanted to be recognized or known for something because Moto was a very famous man in the society because he was involved in politics. So those are the things that really pushed this woman to push her daughter to give in to a marriage with a sugar daddy, even though she was not ready. And then Moto's wife, after uh, realizing that the three who were coming from Grand Daga came to inform her about that news, um, she did not want to give them a pleasure of being sad because she could see that they were mocking her. Their tone was of it was disrespectful. They didn't announce the news humanly. They didn't sympathize with her. They were mocking her. So she did not want them to have a pleasure, to have a pleasure to see, for them to see her sad because that is what they wanted. So she pretended as if she did not care. In fact, she pretended as if she was not hurt. And then they carried on and on and on and on, giving the details of the marriage at Grand Dakar, where Moto was at the time getting married to Pinacho. Tamsir was, as I said, was Moto's older brother. Uh, he was the one who was at the forefront with disrespecting Moto's wife and the Imam, but with Motoba, Moto's friend, he was considerate of Moto's wife's feelings. Disrespectful to Moto's wife. He was different to the Imam who was attacking Moto's wife with words, mocking her, like Tamsil was doing. They will shout and say, "There's nothing that the God that that that, that can separate what God has uh, uh, made." Blah blah blah. Those were the words that they thrown at Moto's wife, and those words really affected Modo's wife, but she pretended as if she did not care. As I said, that she did not want them to have a pleasure of thinking that she was sad with this whole situation, but she was very hurt because she did not expect Modo to make a woman at her daughter's age to be her co-wife. She was really sad and worried. And then, then those news were confirmed by the people who were coming from Grand Dakar, who came to inform her that, in fact, Modo was getting married to Pinocchio. Some were coming as true friends to Moto's wife to sympathize with her. Some were haters, uh, enemies. Like it will happen when something bad to you. The enemies will come. They will show up. They will have certain comments. Also, some were worried. They were jealous of the promotion that Pinato's mother would get for marrying a Moto in the society. She would now known as a woman whose child is married to a famous man in the society. So they were jealous of Moto's mother's promotion in terms of. So now we learn also that as time goes on, when Motos and Pinocchio now were married, then Moto lost his life. Lost his life. We learn that Tamsir arranged a meeting. It was after 40 days of Moto's death. They were celebrating Moto's life during. So the meeting took place after 40 days of Moto's death. Tamsir wanted to announce something that came as a shock to everybody who was at that house. We can reveal that the people who were there was Moto's wife Daba, Tamsir, Maudopa, yeah. So also the Imam and also the rest of Moto's family. So Tamsir wanted to announce that he was taking Moto's wife, or was inheriting Moto's wife to be his fourth wife, because he already had three wives that he was struggling to support. So it was Moto's wife turn to speak out for to speak out, to reject himself, to avenge to Tamsir in. He announced the news that Moto was getting married to Pinocchio with a disrespectful manner, in fact, because Tamsir showed that he respected Moto's wife. So Moto's wife was still head of Tamsir's actions, and then she wanted to speak out for the first time after 30 years of being involved with this family. After 25 years to Moto's marriage, because she was married to Moto for 25 years, and she felt disrespected by Tamsir taking decisions for her and not telling her first before he announced to everybody that he was interested to her. So she then wanted to pay revenge to Tamsir by rejecting her, sorry, by rejecting him in front of everybody. So she stood up for herself. She told everybody that she is not going to marry Tamsir. She revealed to everybody that it was time for her to speak out after 30 years of silence. She had to come out and stand for herself. She then revealed that Daba's husband and Daba had bought Moto's house, and then Moto left enough remains of money to be able to sustain her. So she did not need any man to support her because she had everything, and also Daba and her husband were ready also to support her. So she did not need Tamsir, who was also struggling to support her three wives. She stressed that Tamsir could not support her. And then that was the rejection from Moto's wife to Tamsir in front of everybody. And Tamsir did not have a way to make a follow-up because he felt very defeated. And then the Imam prayed to God and declared everybody as a witness that the rejection was there and it was them. And then that Tamsir accepted the rejection without challenging it. But those wife, after 30 years, finally live her life independently because she was able to stand up for herself, because she was able to fight for herself. She was still wounded that she did not see how beautiful her life was. For the first time after 30 years, she is now able to live without the pressure from her husband. She is able now to live her life without being told what to do. She is able to live her life without being submissive to anyone. At last, Moto's wife is free. Free because she is able, or she was able, to stand up for herself. But then the question is, what if she did not stand up for herself? Will she be able to be free at last from this family? Or she will be Tamsir's fourth wife? In fact, some say Tamsir was an opportunist. He knew that Moto left something, so he also wanted to benefit from Moto's inheritance. He's a cunning man, more like Moto, a hypocrite like Moto, who marries a teenager of her daughter's age, Daba, because Daba and Pinacho were of the same age. But then we have this woman by the name of, or referred to as a narrator, sorry, who is brave at the end, who is able to gather courage to speak out, to say, this is wrong. I am not giving myself in for that, who is able to live freely at the end. There is a lesson in this story that if you are able to speak or to stand up for yourself, you will finally be able to live the life that you want to live. Thank you. So she was finally free of Moto's hypocrisy, even though she was struggling to say it because she was still emotionally hurt. She still had scars of Moto's doings to her. And also, the reason why she refused to divorce Moto after Taba advised her to divorce him was because she deeply loved Moto. And also, she felt that she was not ready to sacrifice her 25 years of marriage with Moto over something minor like that. Thank